Could you do the introduction real quick, President John? I didn't know you were starting the recording, and I was in the middle of sending out the agenda. I just have like 2 more.
Sure. Greetings, brothers and sisters. Tonight it's 5:13 p.m., February 27th, 2022. This is the Division 421 UNIA-ACL mass meeting. Tonight's topic will be Dr. Tony Martin, who is declared the official historian of the UNIA under the 5th President General Charles L. James. Before we get started, we'll do a quick roll call. So for the individuals on Zoom, we have myself, Brother John, Sister Tania, Secondary Vice President, Brother Art, Brother Malik, and Brother Robert. And then on the conference line, we have Brother Freemy of Seattle. That makes 6 total on the call right now.
Okay, I'm sending the last one. I'm about to hit. And we can go to the pledge. Okay. So if you don't have a flag at home, then you can always picture one in your mind. And repeat after me. I commit my body, mind, and spirit.
I commit my body, mind, and spirit.
To the protection, defense, and security.
To the protection, defense, and security.
Of the red, black, and green.
Of the red, black, and green.
I dedicate my life.
I dedicate my life.
To the redemption of the Africa.
To the redemption of Mother Africa.
And the liberation of us scattered Black children.
And the liberation of scattered Black children.
I accept for myself and my descendants.
I accept for myself and my descendants.
The teachings of universal African nationalism.
The teachings of universal
African nationalism.
And promise that our children will be instilled.
And promise that our children
will be instilled.
With the purpose and knowledge of themselves as African people.
With the purpose
and knowledge of themselves as African people.
In order that the cause of our struggle.
In order that the cause of our struggle.
Will neither falter nor fail.
Will neither falter
nor fail.
Until our Black people are free and united.
Until all Black people are free and united.
Through one God.
Through one God.
One God.
One aim.
One aim.
One aim.
One destiny.
One destiny.
All right, thank you. Let me go to our guidelines for the call. Now our meetings are broken into 2 halves. The first half, we focus on the topic related to the organization. Today we're doing Dr. Tony Martin. Then afterwards, we'll open the floor for questions. And then right after that, we'll do members share. That's unless President John want to go over with the meetup that they had, the fundraiser. Wasn't it this weekend?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, if you wanted to, or anyone that wanted to bring it up, you can do that after the topic.
That's fine.
Okay. You can also request to do a presentation for anyone that want to do that. You can message me. Let me give my number. Hold up. What I done did with the app? Okay, here it go. It's 469-445-0646. And I think, let me look at the schedule. Maybe something coming up soon. I know, let's see. I thought it was something in the next 2 months. So nope, there isn't nothing open. But if you do have something that you're thinking about that you want to do a presentation on, just message me on that number on 445-0646. And also if you have any flyers or anything like that that you want to go into the agenda, or if you have any like a positive YouTube page or something like that you want to share, I can also put that in there. But if you send me something and need to have the words to it, I won't have time to type out titles and subjects and stuff for you. So you need to send it the way that you want it to go on the agenda. Have your pen and paper available to write notes and take member contact information. Keep your phone on mute when you don't have the floor. There will be people on this call with different ideas and religions and opinions in your own. We must not be disagreeable. I mean, not disagreeable, disrespectful and nasty towards one another. Ladies, do not give out your personal number during a conference call. Give out a business number or email. I know nowadays there are ways that you can have two numbers with the same phone. That's what I do. I just use an app that gives me a number. They all are different, so just kind of research them before you just pick something and purchase it. And do not use the N word during the call or over usage of curse words. All right, President John has already went over the roll call. So let me scroll back to the top so I can go over our topic. Let me start with the quote of the day. Having had the wrong education as a start in his racial career, the Negro has become his own greatest enemy. Most of the trouble I have had in advancing the cause of the race has come from Negroes. Booker Washington aptly described the race in one of his lectures by stating that we were like crabs in a barrel, that none would allow the other to climb over, but on such an attempt, I would continue to pull back into the barrel the one crab that would make the effort to climb out. Yet those of us with vision cannot desert the race, leaving it to suffer and die. And that's Marcus Garvey. Okay, Dr. Tony Martin. He was born February 21st, 1942. He passed away January 17, 2013. He's known as Professor Tony Martin and was a historian, author, and emeritus professor of African Studies at Wesley College, Massachusetts. He is regarded as the preeminent expert on the life and work of Marcus Garvey. He was born in Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago. Professor Martin's education and work took him around the world. He qualified as a barrister at law at the Honorable Society of Gray's Inn, in parentheses, London. And in 1965, he did a BSc honors degree in economics at the University of Hull, in parentheses, England. And he has an MA and later a PhD in history at Michigan State University. He taught at the Caprini Labor College in Trinidad, St. Mary's College in Trinidad, in the University of Michigan, Flint, before beginning his work at Wesley College. Professor Martin taught at Wesley from 1973 to 2007, during which time he was awarded tenure. He was visiting professor at the University of Minnesota, Brandeis University, Brown University, and the Colorado College. Professor Martin spent the year as an honorary research fellow at the University of West Indies, Trinidad. Professor Martin lectured in many countries. He spoke to university and general audiences all over the United States and Canada, the Caribbean, and Europe, Africa, Australia. That's not Australia, that's Austral. What is it? Australasia and South America. In 1990, he delivered the annual Du Bois Patmore Nkrumah Pan-African Lecture in Ghana. In 2004, he was one of the principal speakers at the first Conference of Intellectuals of Africa and Diaspora, which was sponsored by African Union in Senegal. Professor Martin established his own publishing company, the Majority Press, through which he published many of his own books and the work of other authors. He wrote, compiled, or edited 4 books, including Amy Ashwood Garvey, Pan-African Feminist and Miss Marcus Garvey, #1, or A Tale of Two Amys in 2007, Literary Garveyism, Garvey Black Arts in the Harlem Renaissance of 1983, and the classic study of the Garvey movement, and his seminal text, Braceforce, the ideological and organizational struggles of Marcus Garvey and the Universal Negro Improvement Association, 1976. Professor Martin's articles and reviews have appeared in the Journal of Negro History, Journal of African American History, American Historical Review, African Studies Review, Washington Post Book World, Journal of Caribbean History, Journal of American History, Black Books Bulletin, Jamaica Journal, Comparative Studies of South Asia, Africa, and the Middle East, and many others. Professor Martin's writing can be found in several reference works and encyclopedias, including the UNIA-ACL General History of the Caribbean, the Oxford Dictionary of National Biography, American National Biography, the Encyclopedia of African American Business History, International Encyclopedia of the Social Studies, and Encyclopedia of Harlem Renaissance. He received numerous academic community awards, including grant from the American Philosophical Society. Professor Martin reviewed articles and programs for scholarly journals, including the National Endowment for Humanities and the Austrian Science Fund. His biographical listings can be found in Who's in America, Who's Who in the World, and Who's Among American Teachers, Personalities, Caribbeans, Who's Among African Americans, and elsewhere. He was also a reviewer and a consultant for publishers, and served as an expert witness for congressional hearings. Professor Martin was also a featured guest on a Marcus Garvey episode of BBC Radio's Fours Great Lives, which aired in 2005. Professor Martin passed away unexpectedly in Trinidad, Tobago on the 17th of January in 2013. He was 70 years old. He is survived by his son, Shabaka, who was the light of his life. Once you have a chance to view the agenda, there's a link that goes to his website. And on his website, you'll see some of the books that he wrote, like Pan-African Connection, From Slavery to Garvey and Beyond, Literary Garveyism, Marcus Garvey Hero, and I'm guessing you can buy some of them from here. Has the Amy Ashwood Garvey book, African Fundamentalists, The Poetical Works, Marcus Garvey, In Nobody's Backyard, Race Furs, The Jewish Onslaught. Ooh, okay, so that makes sense right there. The reason why I said that is when I was kind of looking up to see if I could find a different website to get some more information, I came across something that was written by Jews, and they seemed they was kind of upset. I don't say kind of, they was upset, and they had like a list of different professors and stuff that was teaching in Black colleges. I think it was like maybe a older article because, you know, he passed away in 2013. So it was, so I know it had to be like way before, to where they were saying that they was upset about some of the teachings of some of the African American studies that was being the way it was being taught. And I thought it was because of the Race First book, because in there, you know, Garvey talks about how he, I'm not gonna say he said what Hitler did was good. He didn't say that, but he said he do understand some of it, and he said he believed that they got some of their stuff from him. Racial period, means speaking racial pride and all that. Thought that they stole it from him. But anyway, I see it's a whole book on the Jewish onslaught that he wrote. Then is Dr. Tony Martin. His other book, Progress of the African Race Since Emancipation and Prospects for the Future. And I don't know what this is, Writing and Reception of Race First paper. It doesn't have a picture on it. So, okay. And so they have, what is this, contact? They got, I guess if you want to sell a book, they got his publishing information and stuff on here. And the biography that I just read. And then I also shared a video, which I didn't really get a chance to watch all of it. I only got to watch like a few minutes of it, that he did with the UNIA of Detroit. And it was over, he did a lecture over Marcus Garvey. So if you wanted to view that, the link is it's all in the agenda. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass it this time to President John if he has something he wants to say. And if not, then I'll open the floor for questions.
Thank you, Second Lady Vice President. Sister Tania. So tonight's meeting is, it's a bit informational. Most of our meetings are, but it's not necessarily, this meeting's not about roles within the organization. It's about some of our historical icons and ancestors. So tonight we were focusing on Dr. Tony Martin, who has been declared the official historian of the UNIA during his time. And when you look up books written or books about Marcus Garvey, you'll get a lot of books. One couple come to mind is I think there's one like by John Henry Clark. It's like I forgot the name of it, but it's by John Henry Clark, Negro with a Hat by a brother named Colin Grant. But there's several books, obviously Philosophy and Opinions, written by his wife. But the reason why we give Tony Martin so much respect and credit, he's up there with, Amy Jacques Garvey. But his perspective comes from within the organization. He's not just writing about Marcus Garvey and the legacy of the UNIA, but he's actively working to make sure this legacy stays alive, and it's not just something that we talk about and we're proud of and we remember, but it's something that we can actively benefit from today and pass on to the next generation. So I was just saying that to say, when you look at a lot of the individuals that have written about Garvey, most of them never became members of the UNIA, especially active members of the UNIA. So they're writing from a outside perspective. But as we know, Garvey teaches us a lot about self-determination, self-initiative, and being able to identify and define things for ourselves. So that's why we put Tony Martin so high when it comes to historical information, not only because of his background and his resume, but because he actively came within the organization and worked from within, and not just wrote about it from the outside. So last thing I would say is Dr. Tony Martin is responsible for what's called the New Marcus Garvey Library, which consists of 9 volumes of texts from literary Garveyism, poetical works of Marcus Garvey, Hero, a first biography, Amy Ashwood Garvey, Pan-African Feminist and Wife, African Fundamentalism, a literary anthology of the Garvey movement, Pan-African Connection, Message to the People, which is our study group course, Race First, which is another book that we've read in the past and we will read again, but it's like a historical summary of the UNIA and Marcus Garvey and his struggles. And the last book, Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey. So, as I said, there's a lot of information, a lot of text when it comes to Garvey and UNIA, but when it comes to primary sources, Tony Martin would be up there as one of the foremost scholars. So if you're pulling information and saying, hey, I heard somewhere that Garvey did this or the UNIA did that, check the source. If it comes from Dr. Tony Martin, I wouldn't argue with it at all, but if it comes from other people, just question that information. So I just wanted to reiterate the importance of Dr. Tony Martin and the information that he provided to the organization. So thank you, Second Lady Vice President, for giving us this topic. And I believe you said his birthday was in the month of February, and that's kind of why this aligns with this month. But yeah, I don't really have much. I'm still studying the brother, still in awe and respect and amazement of what the brother did. We've got some DVDs, well, at least one DVD that we will show in the near future where Dr. Tony Martin himself talked about the establishment of the UNIA government. But when it comes to scholars in the UNIA and Marcus Garvey in recent history, there's no one higher than Dr. Tony Martin. So that's all I really wanted to say. thank you, Second Lady Vice President, and we can open the floor for any questions or comments in regards to tonight's reading.
Yes, Brother Imhotep here. Greetings, Africans.
Greetings, Africa.
I'm very much appreciative of the topic here, and thank you, Sister Second Vice President Tania, because I learned something I didn't know. One of the books I do want to get was the Jewish Onslaught there. That's on my priority list here. And the other, it reminds me of the many attacks that our other African historians have received from the Jewish sector. I remember Dr. Ben debating their leaders. Dr. Clark, Dr. J was under much attacked there in New York. So it has been an onslaught, and I'm really interested in finding out, as Sister Tania was saying, Garvey is saying they took a lot of their pride from his words, his teachings, his position. Yeah, I'd like to study that there. So I'm going to read the biography here, and yes, I would agree, President John, the historic value and the much appreciated work that was done here. And so yeah, this is much appreciated, and Dr. Anthony Martin needs all the glory, the appreciation, acknowledgement that he deserves. And it's like the race first. I read it 3 or 4 times here. Yeah, couldn't put it down the first time I read it, and it's just good. So thank you again. Race first.
Race first. Yeah, I remember Marcus Garvey said something like, they laughed at me whenever I was marching my people up and down the street, and said somebody we would have had. And then when Germany did it, they was impressed or something. I mean, it's not his exact words, but he said, if y'all would have left me alone, we would have had uniforms too. He said something like that. You know what quote I'm talking about, President John? I can't remember
not exactly
where it came from, but I know he talks about Germany, and he talks about some of that in Race First. I can't remember the chapter though, but I think it might have been around the chapter about socialism, maybe. No, communism. I think it's like around that chapter.
But yeah,
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead, President Joe.
No, I was just gonna say, I was just thinking, because February was supposed to be Black History Month. We're supposed to be honoring and teaching the next generation about our great ancestors, and I'm just glad that we were able to discuss Dr. Tony Martin this month. We need, I'd like to have more time, and maybe even we should, maybe next year we can dedicate a day of celebration, but very important that we keep his legacy alive and keep his the things that he brought to light we got to make sure we're aware of those things.
Yes, excuse me here. You brought to mind President John. Dr. Martin was born February 21st, 1942. Yeah, February 21st. The date, yeah, Malcolm X was assassinated. To make the connection.
Yeah, February 21st. For good and bad reasons, should be a day of remembrance. Anybody else want to comment in regards to tonight's topic? Dr. Tony Martin.
Very informative, man. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Art.
Yeah. And I don't think there's, this is Ras Marvin, I don't think there's any other greater scholar when it comes to Garvey than Dr. Tony Martin.